Very much indeed. That's RT's correspondent Paula Slier live there in Cairo. Well, let's talk now to Kamel, a journalist and social activist in Cairo. Hopefully she can join me now live. What are the demonstrators hoping to achieve, since, as we heard from Paula a little earlier, that the military have promised to hand over power to the new president on the 1st of July?
I'm sorry, I can't hear your question very clearly, but I think it's important to point out that the bulk of protesters right now in Tahrir are Muslim Brotherhood members or strong supporters of Morsi and an Islamic State. If we are going to talk on, I think right now it's quite obvious that there are different groups that do take to the square at different times and have different goals and objectives, one of which are the Muslim Brotherhood, who are at the moment fighting for authorities and for their place in this government, whether it be parliament or the next constitutional assembly that will be writing Egypt's constitution, or even Morsi's presidency. Right now I don't feel that the bulk of protesters who have been taking to the streets in the initial 18 days of the revolution and the year-and-a-half transitional phase since then are present in Tahrir right now. The fight that's taking place right now is mostly between the Muslim Brotherhood and the army and the former ruling National Democratic Party.
Why is it then that the Muslim Brotherhood and the protesters there don't believe what the military rulers are saying, that they will be stepping down and handing over power to the president by the 1st of July? Why don't they believe that?
It's quite logical for them not to believe that the army will hand over power in less than 10 days after the measures that the army took in the last week, and now that we're hearing Shafiq that he's winning in the presidency and that fight ongoing. I think it's quite logical for both sides to be trying to rally the street behind them. The military has really not given any indication that it will be handing over power. It could be handing over in a very symbolic way the power to the next president, whoever it may be, but it still has most of the authorities of the legislative and even the executive bodies. So there is no reason right now for the Muslim Brotherhood to back down or to take anything for granted from the ruling military council.
Whatever the results of that election, are we still then going to see anger and protests in the streets in Cairo and throughout Egypt?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Whatever the result of the election, then, are we still going to see protests ongoing?
I believe so, especially after the Morsi campaign announcing so early on that Morsi is the winner and that he's in the lead and remains to be in the lead, and allowing their supporters and regular Egyptians to come out and celebrate in Tahrir. If another result is announced and Shafiq is announced the winner, I think those crowds in the street right now will take up protests and will continue protesting, and we might as well see clashes outside Parliament.
And just briefly, the revolution continues, does it? Just very briefly?
The revolution continues regardless. Neither Morsi or Shafiq are representing the revolution right now. This is the frame of the old regime. The battle between the Muslim Brotherhood and SCAF is the old regime, and it still continues. And until we can get out of that framework, the revolution, I believe, will continue.
Kamel, thank you very much indeed, live there in Cairo. Boosting